Time now for sport, and it's the eve of the biggest boxing match in Britain for years.
Well, it's now only 24 hours to the start of the biggest boxing event since the Second World War.
Yes, tomorrow night, Midland star Carl Froch goes head-to-head in a rematch with George Groves in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. Our sports correspondent is there for us now. Steve, it's going to be there, it's going to be live, it's going to be exciting. Just tell us all about the build-up. The weigh-in, of course, was this afternoon. How did that go?
Well, I suppose it depends how you look at the weigh-in. From a point of view of did they weigh in successfully, then yes, but it was certainly a rude awakening for Carl Froch. George Groves, of course, a local boy to these parts. Massive support for him, and Carl took a fair bit of abuse as he took to the stage. But they both came in on the weight perfectly. George Groves actually, perhaps surprisingly, being he's often seen as the stockier of the two, coming in at 11-12, and Carl was 11-13, so no problems there. The fight goes ahead. Well, it's taken three people to make this fight happen, really. Carl Froch, of course, George Groves, and promoter Eddie Hearn. And I asked Eddie Hearn, with the fight so close, how's he feeling and what does he think it's going to be like?
It's all very well creating the hype. If you haven't got the product and if you haven't got the fight, it's not going to happen for you. Ultimately, we have the fight. The first one was epic. This one, I believe, will be even better. It's got everything. It's got the animosity, the rivalry, but ultimately it's got the credibility of a great fight.
Yeah, certainly getting very excited about it. Going back to that weigh-in that we talked about there, there's been a slight issue building up this week with George Groves' security. And if we take a look at the head-to-head from the weigh-in today, you'll see you can barely see George Groves because he gets blocked by a member of his own security team standing right in front of it, really upsetting, of course, the press photographers, not helping the TV crews at all, and actually not helping the fans because there was about 4,000 people there to see this happen. So a bit of a disgruntled feeling there towards his security that perhaps if you're already a superb boxer, do you really need that much security anyway? But, well, I suppose the fight will go ahead. The fight is going to be so exciting. And what most people want to know is who is going to win. Well, I've spoken to three fantastic boxers, some from the past, some still in the game, to ask them for their verdict of who will win over 12 rounds. Richie Woodhall, former TV boxing pundit, the star from Birmingham, now works with Team GB. Rendall Munroe, the 33-year-old from Leicester, has just hung up his gloves, but still has his heart in boxing. Mikkel Kessler, former super middleweight world champion, first professional fighter to beat Carl Froch. He later also lost to the Cobra and has sparred with George Groves. Three fighters, one mission, 12 rounds to pick one winner.
His sparring has been very hard. He's well focused. He's been not living at home, living away from home, so he hasn't got the home luxuries. So in terms of preparation, I think Carl Froch, his preparation is A1.
I think mentally, because of the first fight, maybe Groves will have.
Froch, this time round, I think he's been in the gym, he's put it right, and I think he's going to go out there and show everyone that why he's a world champion.
Technically, I think probably George brings a little bit more to the table than Carl.
It's difficult to say, but I would say Groves.
Groves.
Stamina, no question. I think Carl Froch is probably in another league to most fighters.
Carl.
Froch. Froch is a warrior. He's a warrior.
I think if I have to choose, now I have to choose. So they are both close, but I would say that Carl has the more experience, and I think he's good.
Groves, really. I think Groves is trying to get under Froch's skin.
I would go for Froch again. He's worked long and hard to be a world champion, and he doesn't want to let it go.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, I know Groves, he wants to be champ. He's more hungry than Carl.
I think Froch is going to go out there and show that, you know what I mean, there's still plenty in the tank.
Carl Froch has probably got the strongest chin in boxing, never mind in this fight.
I know Carl, he can take a punch, so I would say Carl on that one.
He's got to be Froch, hasn't it? Froch has been at the top level and took punches, you know what I mean? When you're getting hit by someone like Kessler and you're standing there, then you know you've got a chin.
That's a good one, actually. That's a close one. I think they're fairly even in terms of the punching power.
It's Carl.
I'd say Froch again.
I've got to go with Carl Froch to get it right this time because he got it wrong last time.
who's going to control the fight. You know, in the last fight, Groves, he controlled it good from the first round, and probably Carl, he would try to make it different, but maybe Groves is going to try to do that again.
I think it'll be a 50-50 split, and you might see it change during the night, depending on the performance from both boxers.
Majority of the crowd are going to get behind Froch, but you know what I mean. I think a few people are going to go in there thinking that is Groves going to change it around again.
I know McCracken, he's good. I know how he has to change Carl for this fight, and I think he's going to do a good job on it.
We've had our best Olympics for 50-odd years in 2012, with Robbie leading that. So in terms of the coaches, I don't think there's no comparison. Where's Paddy Fitzpatrick? Where's he been? What's he done? I think he's got an amateur club in Swindon.
Froch has been at that level for a long time, you know what I mean, fighting America, fighting people like Kessler.
On experience, Carl is probably better equipped and prepared for this type of occasion than George.
I would say Carl, he has more experience in that way, so he would win that.
I think Froch's brutal strength is just going to come there. I reckon it's either going to be a late stoppage or a points decision for Froch.
Carl Froch will win this fight, I think, and I think it'll be a little bit earlier this time. I think he will stop him in probably round 6 or 7.
I would say let the best man win. I promise you, let the best man win, and on the night, and yes, I would say that.
12 rounds, Froch winning this contest on points. On May 31st, he'll hope to do it by knockout. I hope that's got your heart rate up. We heard Kessler and Woodhall there talking about how important Carl's trainer is. So just how much does Rob McCracken mean, the man in Froch's corner? Rob McCracken could lay claim to being the most successful boxing coach in the country right now, but he's too modest for that. However, his CV speaks for itself. Not only has he guided Carl Froch to world titles, but masterminded Team GB's 2012 boxing success. One of Britain's 2 gold medalists there, Anthony Joshua, is now himself preparing to fight on the undercard of Froch's rematch with Groves. So what is so special about McCracken?
I think the most important thing, I've got so much respect for him and I trust him, and trust is a big factor in boxing. When you go back to your corner between each round, you need to take the advice of your coach, and you've got to trust and believe in your coach, and he can see things unfolding what you can't maybe see.
Rob, who is from Birmingham, was himself a successful boxer. He won British and Commonwealth titles and fought for the world middleweight title. But it is coaching where he's really made his mark on the sport. So what does he make of his own role in Carl's success? You must sit back yourself sometimes, mustn't you, and think, I've done a good job with him.
I hope so. I hope I've helped him out as best as I could and guided him through. But he's been brilliant, and what a career. But it will continue for a while, yeah, and I'm pretty confident he'll be victorious on the 31st of May.
Rob describes Carl as the most dedicated fighter he's met, but admits there is a big difference in this Carl ahead of this fight with George Groves compared to the first time, when even Rob himself found it hard getting Carl motivated.
Well, it was fairly difficult, to be honest, in the last camp for the first fight with Groves. But this time he's back to his old self. He knows he's got to work on things. He knows he's got to put things in place, and he knows that Groves is a challenge.
So this time Carl is ready for a tough fight. How will it pan out? No one knows for sure. But as always in the Cobras fights, there is one certainty: a cool, calm and reliable ally in Froch's corner.
Well, Steve, it certainly is exciting stuff. One thing I wanted to ask, though, England, of course, are playing at Wembley tonight, less than 2 hours to go before kick-off. How on earth are they going to turn it around before this massive fight tomorrow?
Absolutely. Well, that game's live on ITV, so while you're enjoying that, keep a thought for all those people who are going to have to change this stadium in such a short space of time. I am told as soon as the game finishes, work begins. They'll have the last seat in, get this, 5 to 4 tomorrow afternoon. The doors open for the boxing at 5:30. There's no opportunity to get this wrong. It's going to be a massive night.
Thanks, Steve. Great report.
Brilliant stuff. Exciting.
Well,
Can't wait.
Britain
Well, that is it from us. Don't forget our website for any breaking news. We'll leave you with a few words from Carl Froch's family and friends before the big rematch against George Groves tomorrow night.
Yes, 80,000 will be watching at Wembley, thousands more in his hometown of Nottingham and beyond. From all of us now, though, good night and good luck, Carl.
Absolutely. Good luck. Good night. See you later.
Come of the hour, come of the man. I've got to concentrate, focus. I feel like the whole world's watching this.
Let's go for it, let's go for it.
From 9, he was determined to be a boxer.
When it came to the fighting, he just had it.
I'm on the weight and I'm feeling strong physically, mentally.
I respect him and what a brilliant world champion this country's had.
I'd sit there front row and just be so proud to know him and to watch him.
I always say, just do what you can do that you know you can do. Be the best that you can be and believe in yourself.
Yes, it's Hammersmith's very own George Groves against world champion Carl Froch at Wembley tomorrow night. Well, Rags is there for us. So, Rags, why is this such a big fight then?
Well, Charlene, welcome to a rather empty and echoey Wembley Stadium. Football fans starting to come in for the football tonight, but tomorrow this place will be transformed from football stadium into a gigantic boxing arena. 80,000 fans expected to cram in here for what's billed as the biggest boxing match since the Second World War. That's one reason why it's big, but also for the fighters, there's unfinished business. They've squared up, shoved each other, and spoken.
You lay a hand on me again. No. It's be the end of it.
Now the stage is set for the Wembley rematch.
Yeah, I think it's nice that there's a decent view from all the way up here.
George Groves' first fight with Carl Froch ended too soon. Controversially stopped in the 9th, despite the challenger dominating the previous rounds.
I feel like I'm still in the fight. I think the fight from the first fight picks up on Saturday night. But the best thing about it is that everyone acknowledges that. The IBF acknowledged that. They've mandated Carl Froch to take a fight he doesn't want to take, and he's in a situation that he doesn't want to be in, and I can collect my belts on Saturday night.
As for the champion, he claims he's in better shape. What did go wrong in the first fight? Were you not ready, or was George too good?
George was better than what I thought he was, and I certainly wasn't ready. I was ill prepared for the first fight for many reasons that I'm not going to go into.
How big is this event?
Listen, we started this off, this journey, saying this would be what I believe to be the biggest event in British boxing history. We've gone way past that now. This is much bigger than that, and it feels like one of those historical nights in sporting history.
London's undercard fighters have made their predictions. Olympic gold medalist James De Gale thinks Groves will win, and heavyweight gold medalist Anthony Joshua is going with Froch.
George Groves is going to cause a lot of problems, but I feel Froch's experience, the fact that he's world champion right now, and he's a very proud man. I don't think he'll let them belts go.
It's a massive stadium.
Groves surprised many in the first fight, but he's now warning Froch he's a better boxer.
I've improved a lot since the last fight, so the element of surprise is still going to be on him if that is the case, because if he's expecting the same guy that showed up 6 months ago, he's in for a shock.
Tiny bit more respect between you two. Last time you were here, you pushed him.
Yeah, well, he was giving me verbal abuse down my ear hole, and if you do that, I'll push you.
The fighting talk is almost over, and one of the biggest boxing bouts in history about to begin.
Well, I hope Froch didn't push you, Rags. Lots of dramatic talk there. So who's the favourite then?
I think the answer to that is easy. It's Carl Froch. He's the champion twice over. He has the 2 belts and is the favourite. He is, though, 9 years older than his opponents. But this is how the bookies have it. They have Froch on 6-4 on, Groves 5-4, the draw 22-1. And also, some people putting money on a knockout in the first 60 seconds, a bit of an anticlimax if that happens. There's going to be a huge transformation after the final whistle. The centre circle will become the boxing ring. The whole pitch will become seats for the boxing match, all ready for the doors to open at 5:30 tomorrow evening. But before that, there's a football match taking place here. The road to Rio starts here for England. It's England against Peru. The World Cup just 13 days away.
To now sport, and where else would the team be tonight but at Wembley for the weigh-in ahead of the big fight?
Yes, this is it, the final time Nottingham's world champion Carl Froch will meet the young pretender George Groves before this epic fight at Wembley. This is the weigh-in and there are thousands here. It's the battle that everybody in British boxing has been waiting for. Carl is in good shape and will earn up to £10 million if he wins this biggest fight of his career.
And the whole country's getting behind this one, so enjoy it. I just think I'll do the business in style. I'm just focusing on the end prize, the end goal, and this is my legacy at stake.
Fight night is fast approaching for him, and he's in a fight he can't win.
I've got range and reach on him. I'll knock him out early.
Carl's at the end of his career. My career, to a certain extent, it's just beginning.
Regardless of what he says or what I say, we're going to be trying to hit each other very hard in the face for big knockout, concussive punches.
I don't knock that many people out with left hooks, so I'm looking forward to doing that on Saturday night.
This is 80,000 at Wembley Stadium. This is the biggest fight possible. Let's not forget I've already boxed him and beaten him. So I'm coming to this fight very confident.
I don't think anything like this will be seen in British boxing again.
I just can't wait to get out there and do it. Perfect time for me on the biggest stage.
This fight is going to go 12 rounds, no chance. And I'm going to win, obviously.
Yeah! Wow, we hope that whets your appetite ahead of this fight. Well, earlier at the weigh-in, it was pretty heated up on the stage. Carl Froch seemed to get under the skin of George Groves. And over the last month, Angela Rafferty, our reporter, has been on the inside with Froch. She's been to meet his psychologist at his training camp. She's been to his home and to his daughter's first birthday party. She's now getting the final words with Carl Froch.
Well, the time for talking is almost done. 24 hours now until fight night. A quick word with Carl ahead of that. You've been ready for this fight for weeks, you've told me.
Months I've been ready, but yeah, last couple of weeks I've been really feeling ready. I'm on the weight. Physically I'm in potentially the best shape of my life. It's an old cliche. But no, it's good. This weigh-in's fantastic. There's probably 6,000 people here. There's more people at this weigh-in than turn up to most boxing matches. But there's 80,000 coming tomorrow, so let's not forget that.
How much are you looking forward to sorting this all out tomorrow night, settling those scores?
Really, really looking forward to it. I mean, how much am I looking forward to it? How do you sum that up? I don't know. It's the biggest fight in my career, biggest fight in my life, and it'll be so nice to send George Groves back into the hole that he crawled out of about 6 months ago. I've not heard the end of him for so long, and I've got nothing really that badly against him, but I've just not heard the end of him. It's gone on and on and on and on. So now tomorrow night I get a chance to just put this whole thing, this whole saga behind me, put him to bed, and get on with my life.
Well, we look forward to you doing that. We'll speak to you tomorrow night after the fight. Thanks a lot, Carl. Best of luck.
Good luck for being sports.
Back to Nat now, over in the main arena.
With me now is George Groves, and Carl Froch has just told us you look nervous and you're not ready for this fight. What have you got to say?
Well, if Carl says it, it must be true, eh? He hasn't lied once in the build-up to this fight, or in the build-up to the first fight.
You've described that Carl Froch is on death row at the moment. Is that disrespectful to a fighter like Carl Froch?
I didn't mean that he's going to die. I just meant that he's waiting for an inevitable, and he's, in a way, been sentenced.
That was George Groves. Now let's get the views of those fans out there in that crowd.
I've been looking forward to it since it was announced. I can't wait for it.
Two guys at their prime fighting, guys that hate each other, and it's going to be amazing.
The weigh-in shows how big the fight's going to be.
Well, it's like a who's who of the boxing world here today. With me is a heavyweight of the boxing punditry world, Johnny Nelson. Johnny, have you ever seen anything like this for a weigh-in?
You know what, on this side of the world, no. I've seen it in America when you get massive crowds like this, but for this in England, it's a first time ever. I think it's probably down to a young promoter that gets the youth, that gets what they like, gets what they want. He puts music on, he makes the fights that people just imagine about. And so that's why I think this has captured the public's imagination. And of course, putting on at Wembley Stadium, when it was first said, we thought, no chance, the place will be empty. 60,000 tickets went in one day.
Just finally, Froch or Groves?
Oh,
We're from the East Midlands.
Yes, of course. I'm going Froch. I'm going Carl Froch. I go for him to stop him inside the distance. If it goes the distance, I go George Groves because he's the younger man.
Johnny, we liked your first prediction. Thank you very much indeed. That's it from here. We'll leave you now with the shots and scenes of the fans here today. Amazing scenes for a boxing weigh-in, and we just cannot wait for tomorrow night.
It does look exceptionally exciting. We say good luck, Carl.
Genuinely quite an atmosphere.